Hello, this is Bill Terra. There are many practical suggestions online on preventing the spread of coronavirus, and tips of how to identify dangerous symptoms and how to handle the practical problems of living in a lockdown world. Today I want to talk to you about a slightly broader topic. There's a saying that you might have heard before. The saying goes, "May you live in difficult times." It's claimed that this is a Chinese curse, but it seems that no Chinese people have ever heard of it. It's also been used to claim that it is in times of difficulty that we develop more rapidly. And this is the definition I prefer. When times are challenging, it can motivate us to dig deep and discover resources we never knew we had. And these can be such times. I don't need to tell you that our present challenge in the form of a virus has brought things to a halt. Nothing is as it was. From panic buying toilet paper to seeing an affluent country with empty supermarket shelves and billions of people confined to their homes, the definition of normal has been configured into a new shape. Consider this. The canals in Venice, Italy, are cleaned for the first time in decades, and fish have ventured into them. The deer in the city parks of Narnia in Japan have taken to the city streets. In Rome, a friend called us up and told us that she heard the birds singing for the first time since she's lived there, which is usually muffled out by the sounds of traffic. And it was reported, I'm not saying it's true, but it was reported in the news that there were wild boars romping in the streets of Barcelona. Is there a message here? I think there is. Nature's always trying to heal itself and reclaim territory. It is self-correcting, and we are possible co-creators in this process. We need to be vigilant. We need to protect ourselves. We need to nourish our physical, mental, and spiritual health. That's a given. But this challenge has given us an opportunity to think beyond immediate preventive and palliative care. While we should all want the best possible outcomes from the present crisis, it's certainly wise to avoid the next one. And the next one will happen. A vaccine, a treatment, a modality, and improvements in pandemic preparedness. These are the issues that governments and business and science will focus on all through the coming months. But they do not solve the real problem. The problem has to do with our relationship to nature, the source of our being. For thousands of years, humankind has labored under a very, very dangerous illusion. The idea that we have dominion over nature. Visions of this kind of thinking animate almost all of our social institutions. We place ourselves at the pinnacle of an imaginary pyramid of life, when the reality is that we only occupy a small niche in the whole circle of life. Human life could disappear and nature would continue, and the biosphere would repair and rebuild. No one would miss us. On the other hand, if we remove one insect, like a bee or an ant, it could be the ruin of all life on Earth. What's needed is a deep ecology of body and mind. It requires us to approach our relationship to nature with the same diligence that we discover when we want to protect ourselves from any existential threat. The current pandemic originated from a meat market. It remains unknown exactly which animal was the source, but what we do know is that common influenza, bubonic plague, HIV/AIDS, Ebola, Lyme disease, anthrax, mumps, plague, leprosy, rabies, swine flu, and SARS all originated in animal populations. And those are only a few. But what lies behind this phenomena, and how do we change it? As human populations grow, we claim land for its resources. In an economy based on relentless growth and calculated obsolescence, we use more than we replace. People become identified as consumers with no value other than purchasing power. We use beyond our need and feed only our greed. And in the process, we abuse all aspects of life on Earth. We kill creatures in the soil with chemical concoctions that wash into the rivers and seas, that kill both plant and animal life. We travel needlessly polluting air and waters of the world for vacations. We reduce natural habitats. We cut down forests to feed the caged and captive animals we exploit and kill for their muscle and skins and furs. We force wild animals into increasingly small areas, disrupting their natural movements and creating concentrations that become breeding grounds for disease and bring them closer into contact with human populations. We do these things because we can, not because we must. In this time of isolation, what can we do? Well, first, we take care of ourselves and our families. We build up our immune response through healthy nutrition. We spend as much time outside as possible. We create a calm and grateful mind that we live in this paradise of a planet. It may also give us time to create a new vision of the world, one that's not seen as an interlinking chain of products for sale, but a vision of cooperation and co-creation. How is it possible that we can shut down the machinery of social life on the whole planet so effectively for a virus, but are so timid when it comes to saving nature, which is the source of our life? Make no mistake, this is an ecological issue. This is an ecological crisis. If we do not create a strong vision of a healthy world, a vision that will dominate, then what will happen is we give that vision away to the billionaire political influencers who throw social scraps to the consumers and happily create the domination myth as their moral compass. I want to close with the late Barry Commoner's 4 Laws of Ecology from The Closing Circle, published in 1971. The first of those laws was, everything is connected to everything else. The ecosphere does not exist as separate compartments. What affects one affects all. Number 2 is that everything must go somewhere. Nothing can be thrown away. There is no away. Things might be out of sight, but they are not away. Number 3 is nature knows best. We cannot improve upon nature. Changes in any natural system will always be detrimental to that system. They always rebound on us. And number 4 is a really important one. Not that the others aren't. That is, there's such a thing, no such thing as a free lunch. We always suffer when we disrupt natural law, when we convert resources from useful to useless forms. But now the party's over and the bill has to be paid and the room needs to be cleaned up. Many years ago I was in a pub that there'd been a big party there the night before. There was an older gentleman who was whistling while he swept up and mopped the floors and wiped down the tables, and I said to him, well, they left you with all the dirty work. And he stopped and smiled at me and said, no, last night was the dirty work. This is the clean work. That's why I'm so happy. When I leave, everything will be shining. Well, now's the time for the clean work. Now's the time for the green work. Join Marlene and I and with a vision of creating a healthy planet for all life, both human and non-human. Join us in the evolution. Thanks for listening. This has been Bill Terra from Macro Vegan.